Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Amen. Welcome to the third night of Hanukkah. Today I want to talk about one more symbol of Hanukkah that you may be familiar with. It's called the dreid'l. And this is my little dreid'l. It's not made of clay. Let me put this aside. It is made of polyethylene plastic. And on the sides of the dreid'l are 4 Hebrew letters, which are Nun, Gimel, He, and Shem. These 4 letters stand for a Hebrew phrase, which is Nez Gadol Hayasham. Nez Gadol Hayasham means a great miracle happened there. And that's kind of the slogan for Hanukkah. The key theme in Hanukkah is the miracle of the oil that happened when Israel took the step of faith to rededicate their temple to the Lord. The Bible's full of miracles, usually when something crazy happens to someone and God sort of moves in against the laws of nature to fix it. And every time we think about this, I think it brings up the theme, the idea of, if God can really work against the law of nature, then why doesn't he do it all the time? If God can, see every sparrow that falls, why doesn't he catch them all? If God can do anything, why doesn't he fix everything? And I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm not going to attempt an answer to it because I think it's a very complex one. But one thing that I can say about God's miracles is, number 1, he cares about our quality of life. People matter to God. And number 2, his miracles are redemptive in nature. Some of you may know that I'm a Messianic Jew. A Messianic Jew is somebody who believes that Jesus Christ was the Messiah that fulfilled the Hebrew Scriptures. And so I am going to talk a little bit about one of Jesus' miracles and how I feel that it relates to the miracle of the oil that happened in Hanukkah. And I believe that Jesus came into a very dark world. I mean, people look at him and say, okay, he was a good person, he was this or that. He came into a dark world and shone one little candle. A world full of rape and murder and slavery. A world where people don't matter to people. A world where money and possessions take the place of human beings. And this became a huge point of contention between Jesus and the religious leaders of his day. One thing that he could say about them was that they were extremely concerned with following the law almost to the letter. I think they had kind of learned their lesson in the past from the days of Josiah, where he said, I found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. It was buried. And now here they are, the book of the law is published everywhere, and everybody knows every jot and tittle of the law. But one thing that they seem to forget is mercy and justice. So one day Jesus was walking down the road in Jerusalem, and he runs across this homeless guy. You can assume he was homeless. He was a beggar who had been blind from birth, and he was just sitting by the side of the road. In today's world, maybe he would be holding a cardboard sign saying, "Help me," or "We'll work for food." In Jesus' day, he was just stretching out his hand asking for alms. And this was actually part of the law that people should give a certain percentage of their income to people like this guy. But Jesus' response is a little different. He didn't go digging in his pockets looking for loose change. He turned to his disciples, and his disciples turned to him, and they said, "So, teacher, why him? Why is this man born blind? Who sinned? Was it his parents' fault?" We psychologists tend to ask that a lot. Was it his parents' fault, or was it his fault? Did he sin in the womb, that he was born this way, that this great affliction happened to him? And so they're sort of having this philosophical discussion in front of this guy, and Jesus looked at them and he said, "No. No to both questions. Neither he sinned nor his parents sinned, but this came about so that God would be brought glory." So Jesus, he spits on the ground, and the guy's probably wondering, what is he doing? He just hears this guy spitting, and he kneads the spit into the sand and makes his clay and smears it on his eyes. And now the guy is completely perplexed, and Jesus says, "Okay, go wash in the pool of Siloam." And this guy took an amazing step of faith, that he realized something was happening, and he actually marched across Jerusalem to the other side of Jerusalem, if you know your geography, to go wash in the pool of Siloam. And he came back seeing. And he went into the temple, and the first thing the religious leaders did was they said, "Wait a minute, aren't you the guy who sits on the steps and begs? What are you doing here?" And he says, "Well, I was blind and now I can see." And they said, "Well, who healed you?" This man called Jesus. He bent down and spit on the ground and made clay. He needed clay on the Sabbath. There's actually a Talmudic specification that you cannot knead something on the Sabbath. You can make one stitch, you cannot make two stitches, you cannot make two and tear one. Like, it's really specific what you can and cannot do, what does and doesn't constitute work. And kneading clay would be one of them. So Jesus kind of threw that in their faces with what he did. He didn't just touch the guy and said, "Now you can see." He actually went through this little procedure to show that this person was more important even than the Sabbath that is holy. Because this person was somebody that he had set apart from birth, that he loved, that God loved, that he cared about, that he cared that this man could go through the rest of his life being able to fully participate in society. Nez Gadol Hayasham, a great miracle happened there. That's the grace of God. Jesus walked into a world that was so cold, so devoid of love, that these people cared more that he bent down and spat on the ground on the wrong day of the week than that this person could see. And he came knowing our faults and our problems, our cruelty, and he put himself at our mercy. He stretched out his arms to the men with the nails and said, "Do your worst." He did this so that he could save us from the darkness that's in our own hearts and give us new life. That's the greatest miracle, I think. Modern medicine can actually heal a person born blind. It takes a lot of money and a lot of work. But no money and no work can change a person's heart. Nez Gadol Hayasham, a great miracle. I'm going to say the last blessing, and wherever you are, I want you to pray it with me. Lay down whatever baggage you came with, whatever weight is on your shoulders as you approach the holiday season. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'aseh nisim lavotenu bayamim hachem baziman hazeh. Amen. Blessed are you, O Lord, King of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in the past and will perform miracles now at this time. Lord, I thank you for all that you've done in our lives, for keeping us alive. From the moment we were cast on you at birth, you've sustained us, helped us, been our light in all the dark places we've been. As we kindle these lights or light our candles, God, I pray that you will remind each one of us that you will never let our light go out and will sustain us day by day, until we become like you, a living miracle and a reflection of your glory. Amen. Thanks for watching.